Welcome to Race Classic TV.
In this 2010 edition, we're at the VSCC's big season kickoff meeting, known as the Spring Start, where competitors will be vying for the GP Italia and Lanchester trophies, something the club's been doing since 1949. This event attracts full grids, plenty of spectators, and some very interesting cars. None more so than Nigel Batchelor's Bentley, which he very generously tells us some of the history of and fires up.
Well, Nigel, this looks an amazing car here. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, yes, it's a 1929 4.5 litre Bentley, which has got a supercharger put on it at a later date. So unfortunately, they built 50 originally, but this is not one of the 50. Right. It's actually, there's about 15 or 20 cars which have had superchargers added afterwards.
And is it, I take it, a period supercharger, though?
Oh, absolutely. No, everything on it is entirely, it's a real supercharger. It's just not, it's not the chassis and everything else of an original car. It's a straight 1929 4.5 litre Bentley with a supercharger on the front.
Right. So do you know when the supercharger was added, by any chance?
1956, I think.
Right. So it's got quite a bit of history with the supercharger on it.
Yes. Yeah. It was built using an original body from an originally supercharged car, which is why it will originally have looked like this in 1935. But then, of course, that body was taken off that car and the bodies get changed around because the essence of a Bentley is really the chassis and the running gear. Bentley never made bodies. They always sold the cars without a body. Right. And then people had the body made.
So who bodied this one?
This one is bodied by Competition Cars, which was a company based in Neyland in Essex. They don't exist anymore. They only did, to my knowledge, only one Bentley, so this is the only Bentley with a Competition Cars body on it. Yeah.
Very good. Well, could we hear this thing being fired up then?
Yeah, we'll have a go. Hopefully it'll behave itself.
Okay. Right, so if you take us through the startup procedure. Yeah,
the first thing you have to do is, because it's a race car, it has a dead switch. So you turn the dead switch on, which turns all the electrics on. And then you have to turn a fuel pump on. It's got two pumps, because I've got two tanks, because it uses so much petrol. Yeah. And one tank is just not enough. And then you've got two magneto switches because it's got twin magnetos, so you put those on. Because it's been run already today, it doesn't need any pump priming or anything like that. Hopefully if we press the button, it'll go. Bit of smoke, bit of rubbish. But actually pretty clean.
And the accelerator, is it typically where you find them on cars these days?
It is typically where you find them on vintage cars, which is in the middle. Yeah, so it's brake to the right, clutch to the left, accelerator in the middle. It is actually very useful because when you double D-clutch, braking into a corner, you can actually do it all with the left foot and have your right hard on the brake and not have to worry about heel or toe or anything like that. Yeah, because you can, foot on the clutch, into neutral, off the clutch, blip the throttle, back in, without touching your braking foot at all. So in that way, I think it's a better system. This, when I bought it, it had a right-hand throttle. It had been converted, and I put it back to the original, which is what it is now.
Is that a big job to do?
No, it's very easy. Very easy.
Yeah. Seems like it's dripping oil in a vial. What's that doing?
What it's doing is it's a sight tube, and it's where the oil for the front bearing on the supercharger comes from. You do actually get some lubrication from inside the shaft, but in the 30s, when they were racing these, they discovered that they weren't getting enough oil there. So they put these drip tubes, basically. So it comes off the oil pump, drips into the sight glass, as you can see, and then it goes from there down to the front of the supercharger. So it then lubricates the bearing, and then it gets caught underneath the supercharger and pumped back into the sump.
And it's put here so that you can see that there's still oil?
Yeah, so you can vary the amount of oil that goes through depending on what sort of motoring you're doing, but so you can see and make sure that it is working, yeah. It's just another thing that they did to make sure that it never broke down. Racing in those days was all about reliability. They did 5-hour, 6-hour, 8-hour races, and it was very important to make sure that the car lasted to the finish. And so this was just a way, I think, of blaming the driver if it went wrong.
Indeed. And it looks like everything is in tip-top condition here.
It is. I mean, it's patinated. You can see it's worn. It's an old body. It's from 1935. But it is. It all works underneath. It's all almost perfect. And never say perfect, because then it'll stop in the bloody race. But it's almost perfect, yeah.
Indeed. And Nigel, do you know some history about who raced it in the past?
No, this car wasn't raced until I got it. It was rallied a lot in the 80s. A chap in Sweden rallied it. It's been in the Mille Miglia with a German owner in the 1990s, but it doesn't have any historic racing history, this car.
That's starting now.
Yes. Not sure about historic, but racing history, yeah.
Okay, well, wonderful. Thank you very much for your time, Nigel. It's absolutely a beautiful car, and we'll be looking for you out on the track.
Well, let's say you'll see a few flames.